saying the streets are talking, I feel like you're doing a lot of talking as well. I feel like you talk a lot of shit.
For those that were watching the live yesterday, I had a text message that came through that kind of distracted me for a bit. They wrote that to who? Sorry, I got a business text, and word was reached out to me that Val has something to say to me. Now, I don't know if something from yesterday's episode specifically encouraged her to have something to say to me, or if it's just the collective of shit that I've been talking in the last year and a half doing this podcast or doing this show. You know what I'm saying? So I put my number out there, and if she calls in, she calls in. Hello.
Hello, Shy.
Val.
Hey, it's me.
What's up?
I'm listening. That you saying the streets are talking, I feel like you're doing a lot of talking as well. I feel like you talk a lot of shit. I'm joking. Listen. I just want you to know, like, I've been listening to your show, right? I watch all your reaction videos. I feel like you're doing a great job. And I have to say, like, you definitely keep me entertained. Like, the comments you make are on point. And I want you to know this, like, I know you talk a lot of shit, and I enjoy it, so keep doing what you're doing, because I definitely enjoy it. You're keeping me entertained 100%. I mean, even when the podcast is, like, dropping, I wait to listen to your videos, because I feel like what you're doing is dope. And, you know, I don't know what to tell you. I like where you're coming from, and, you know, there's things that you talk about that I don't agree with, but at the end of the day, I respect it. Because you're entitled to your own opinion, and you know it's your show, it's your perspective, right?
Right. So wait a minute. So this did it come on your radar season 1? Like it came on your radar season 1 that we were doing?
I listened to season 1. I listened to season 2, and I'm now listening to Cartel Live. So yeah, you was definitely on point. I mean, there's some things that, like, I know it's hard because you were just saying that like 5 minutes ago when you were talking about how, you know, there's things that I can't talk about. There's certain things when I was writing my book I was able to talk about, I couldn't talk about. And then with the podcast, I feel like I came all out. And I'm able to share a lot more. When I wrote the book, you know, I didn't even come out as Val. I came out as Olivia, you know, under a pseudonym. Mm-hmm. And I chose to do that because, you know, I wasn't sure. I didn't want the world to know who I was. I was trying to still, you know, hide my identity, you know, for of course, you know, for
safety
reasons and
right.
Yeah, safety reasons, right? And so, but at the end of the day, I was exposed at the Chapo trial. My name came out, and so yeah, so I felt like, you know what, on this podcast, I'm just gonna be transparent. I'm gonna put it all out there. But when I was writing my book, like all them stories, like I read in the comments, like, you know, I know there's questions, and I know people wanna, you know, they're asking certain questions, like, you know, is this real? It's 100% real. It's from my perspective. It's all me. It's what I went through. It's my life. And I know that in the comments, people are saying, like, okay, well, we would have did this. We would have did that. Yeah, it's easy to say now. Like, if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to look back on my life and I'm going to talk about, okay, well, yeah, I would have did this. I would have did everything differently. But we don't have that luxury, right?
Right.
So when I'm telling my story, I'm going back and I'm trying to place myself in that state of mind, and I'm trying to tell a story in real time. And so I'm basically, I need to do that so that way the listener or whoever's reading my book that audience is able to capture what I was feeling and who Val was at that particular moment. Now, who Val is today, I'm a different person. And I feel like it took a lot of growth to be able to go back and take accountability and even show your worst side, right? Because at the end of the day, like, there's certain things I talk about that are embarrassing. There's certain things, you know, I'm not the woman I am today that I was back then, and I feel like I have to capture it, whether it was me, you know, on some shady shit, whether it was me, you know, getting locked up, whatever I was going through, whatever relationship I was in, whether it was, you know, an abusive relationship, I feel like I have to touch on those moments to actually be able to allow my audience to really be in that moment and capture those, you know, experiences that I went through. So
yeah, and like you said, hindsight is 2020. Like We can say what we would have done,
Yes.
what we should have done, what we could have done, but you never know that until it's done.
And if I write that book, I tell that story, that's not interesting. Of course, I'm going to be, I'm going to paint this picture like I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it, as we all are, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like in reality, we live through our experiences. We live through our mistakes. We try to grow. We try to evolve. We try to become better people. And I feel like it's really fulfilling. I feel like it's really fulfilling to sit there and tell your life story and be able to kind of like, bring that story full circle. And I feel like that's what I've accomplished, and that's what I'm continuing to do with these projects. We started off with Cartel Wives, and then we went on to this podcast, and then now we're going into this docuseries and scripted television. So I feel like, we definitely have a story to tell. And there's some people that are going to agree with it. They're going to disagree. We could all agree to disagree, whatever it is, but I do respect your perspective, and I do like listening to you because I feel like you are hitting them points. And there's certain things that you say, like you get it, like you're reading between the lines, and I feel like, okay, you know where we're going. You know exactly, what, you're able to just intelligently put it, in order and be like, okay, wait, this is different. This sounds different. Like, what's up with this? Why is the book saying this and the podcast is saying that?
Right.
And like you said, like there's certain things I can't talk about. And, like, for instance, me, being in prison in Mexico and then me escaping and things like that. Like there's certain things that I have to watch what I say because at the end of the day, even today, I still have legal problems. I don't want anything to affect what I'm going through. Right. Or, for that to, me walk into something that I'm not prepared for. So I'm playing chess. I'm playing chess all day.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the story is as authentic and as real as it's going to get.
Right. Right. No, I mean, I appreciate, first of all, I appreciate you watching. Does Jay watch?
Jay definitely watches. I think, I'm not going to lie, I think we're like your number one fans because we enjoy it. Like I said, it's entertaining. As I'm driving my kids to school, I'm listening to it, and you have me dying, cracking up, especially when you talk shit. So keep talking shit. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't change it up. I love it. And I'm here for it. Like, we all have our own perspective, right? It's your show. It's your opinion, your perspective. Like, you do you.
Right, and at the end of the day, it's like I'm watching a movie. I'm disconnected in the sense that I'm watching a movie, and I'm calling bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And and sometimes I'll be wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I'm okay with being wrong. And sometimes
it's a lot. Let me tell you something. It's a lot. Like it's the stories, the things that we went through, right? It's something unheard of, right? So like we've been through shit that other people would never even imagine. And I feel like that's the whole reason why, we're getting, this is why we're doing all these projects. This is why we're able to get into like bigger things like scripted series and they're going to put this on TV film because these stories are unheard of. But the crazy thing is that we don't need any, like, the writers that we're getting, like the work is done for them.
No, it's already, your life is already strange. Your life is already stranger than fiction.
It is. So even sometimes I'm like, wait, even when I was writing my book, I would go see my husband at the visit, and I'd be like, wait, Jay? I'd be like, hold up. Like, I can't believe I lived through this shit. Like, who the fuck? Like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, you can't, I can't even, like, imagine, like, who I was back then to have to, like, make the choices that I made and make those, like, life decisions. Right. But like I said, it's easy to like look back and be like, oh shit, like, wait, I would have did this differently. But at the time I was young. The same thing with Jay, you talk about like, okay, well, why didn't he just give up the life? Or why didn't he just like let it go? He was 20-something years old. Like, you're in your prime time. No one's giving up. No one's thinking about changing their life at that age.
Absolutely. 21, so, like, you give me them bricks, I'm gone. I'm making it happen.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, it's unheard of. Like, you're just gonna, it's real easy. Like, it's easier, first of all, said than done. Mm-hmm. But it's so much easier for me to go back and for me to say what I would have, could have, should have done, right? But then again, that's not real. That's not being authentic. That's not being vulnerable. And it's not being transparent. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to tell a story tell my story, tell my husband's story in real time as it's happening, not who Val is or not who Jay is today. And I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean,
and of course, I just want you to know. I mean, the whole point of this is to, you know, I want people to learn from our mistakes. Like, these
cautionary tale.
Tragedies we've been through. It's not like I'm trying to glamorize that cartel life. It's not like I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to glamorize it in any way. I feel like, you know, we went through trauma. We went through, like, we could have had the nicest things in the world, but guess what? We went through the worst nightmares that people wouldn't even dream of. Like, you can't even, like, this shit it's not easy. Like,
so if you were to say it right now, would you consider it backfired? Cause it seems like it all backfired. From the being in the game, yeah, you were able to enjoy it for a while, but it led on to consequences that last forever. And then the decision to cooperate, the same kind of thing. It's like you're trying to do this to have this better life, and then boom, it backfired again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't say backfired. Maybe that's not the word I would use, just because I feel like, you know, I think my whole point of this, right, is to just try to bring, like, bring awareness, right, to my story and what I went through, right, what my husband went through. And I feel like, you know, we made these decisions, and I feel like there was so much heartache involved. There was so much pain. There was so much suffering, right? I'm not going to even talk about the money, because that's not even, like, you know, I'm not going to glamorize it. I'm talking about, like, you know, losing people you love, and kidnaps and things that are, like, you know, us being tied up and not knowing if we're going to see tomorrow. Like, shit, like real shit. Like,
and even now, still dealing with what you're dealing with today. Even now, still today, you know. So
exactly what I'm dealing with today. But, you know, my husband, he decided to cooperate. He decided to change his life. And this was something that I was, you know, cooperation. I was totally against that. You know, my first husband, he cooperated, and I divorced him because of it. You know, my second husband, Cato, you know, rest in peace, he, you know, I went to jail for him. They wanted me to wear a wire on him. And I was like, I would never do that. Like, what? Like, I'm not a snitch.
Right.
And now you have my husband, and I look at him like he's the most courageous, bravest man I know, because he sacrificed for his family, and this is something I was totally against. So I get the backlash. I get why people are mad. I get why people, you know, don't agree and why they're upset, because I was that person my whole life. And now I look at it like, you know what? At the end of the day, there's no loyalty at all, not even within the cartel. They all tell on each other to get stronger, to get bigger.
Absolutely.
And it's like, and this is, and I'm going all the way up the chain to the Chapos and the Mayos. I'm not talking about just, you know, like small scale. I'm talking big scale as well. But yet everyone wants to, like, look down on my husband or frown on him. Like, no. Like, there's no loyalty. You're loyal to your family. And at the end of the day, I look at him like, you know, he made this sacrifice to change, you know, our lives. And it's like, it's not easy, because it's, you know, at the end of the day, we're going to still continue to go through shit. But at the end of the day, I have him home. We're still a family. We still have our children. We still have our kids. We have each other. And that's what it's about, and that's what matters. Right. And as far as me going to jail, I know you brought that up. It's like, you know, I've made mistakes, and it's about taking accountability, right? Right. It's about taking accountability. I feel like there was a lot of flaws, of course, in my indictment and in my prosecution and in my sentencing. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take accountability, and I'm going to just go away and do my time gracefully. I'm going to come home to my family, and I'm going to keep going.
Well, I'm gonna let you take the high road, and I'm gonna say personally that the United States government was on a witch hunt, and this was a personal attack. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. That's my personal opinion, but I don't expect that to come from you, knowing, you know, what you're going through. But yeah, you nailed it. You know, you're taking the accountability for what happened, and hopefully this is the last stretch of shit luck in that, as far as that situation goes, you know?
Exactly. And I just want you to know, like, I get how, first of all, how you can sit there and you can, like, pick things up when it comes to my case or when it comes to like shit we've been through. And I respect that. I know, like, and that's why I listen to your show, and that's I'm gonna continue listening to your show.
I appreciate it because I
said,
thought you was coming in hot.
You say things that I probably can't say just because, you know, for good reasons. But at the end of the day, you're on point. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna keep supporting. And I'm gonna keep listening.
I appreciate that. You got time for a couple questions from the chat?
Sure, go ahead.
Ask her if she was messing with the twin when Kato was alive.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Actually, it's funny that he asked that because twins used to, you know, Jay, I used to hook up Jay with my best girlfriend because I used to think, like, me and him were really cool. You know, Kato treated them like their little brothers. I said that in my book. And everybody knows at the end of the day how loyal I was to Kay. I went to prison for him. And anyone in my inner circle knows that. It's not even a question. So, absolutely not.
I'll tell you, that was, again, finding out that you had something to say to me, I said to myself, listen, you know how many times I said at the beginning of this shit, you'll never convince me y'all didn't have something going on. How many times I said that in season 1. But, again, perspective is everything. And I'll say this, and I'll say it to the chat so that y'all hear it. So when I first started doing this podcast, there would be people in the comments. And of course, you know, this is a city where there's a lot of people here that loved Kay. You know what I'm saying? And
of course.
And people would be in the chat and they'd
not
be
more than me, but of course.
Not more than you. But they'd be in the chat and they'd be telling me things. And mind you, I just had heard the rumors around like everybody else did. Mind you, were we 6 degrees of separation apart? Absolutely. Like we was right there, you know what I'm saying? But I would get these rumors just like everybody else, and they would sit there and they'd ferment for years. And then when I started doing this show and people would get in the comments, it would sound like they knew what they were talking about. So somebody would argue with me and be like, oh, well, if that's the case, why doesn't she let Kay's mom see the kid? And I'm like, damn, dude in the chat talking about Valerie don't let Kay's mom see the kid. So there gotta be something to that, right? And then I find out in Cartel Wise that y'all have no children together. So that theory is just out the window.
Right. Well, you know, the streets are always talking, right? The streets are always talking. And I feel like, you know, everyone is going to continue to, you know, think what they think, say what they say, which is fine because we all have our own opinions. And there's times that I could be wrong as well when I have opinions about somebody else, right? You never know somebody's story until, like, you hear, you know, their side of things, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I understand why people talk shit, as I probably would think the same thing too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not mad at it. And to be honest, like, you know, for anyone to even imply that, of course, it was hurtful, right? At first, I got to keep it real with you. It was hurtful. And I was devastated by it. Like, wait, what? Like, this is a person that, like, was my everything. You know, somebody that I was loyal to, somebody I was married to, that I'd probably still be with today if he, you know, wasn't killed. Like, that, to me, was, like, the most pain I've ever felt in my life. Right. However, like, it's not, I don't feel like it's my fault that my life moved on.
Right.
It's not, you know, you know, it's not my fault that you don't pick and choose who you fall in love with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't, you know, I'm not on no dirty shit. There was no me and Jay going behind, you know, Kato's back in any way. And I just feel like, you know, it was hurtful to hear those things. But at the end of the day, it's understandable because I probably would have had questions myself, you know, looking at somebody else's story. But, you know, I felt like, you know, I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm not going to be mad. And I see why people say it. And, like, for instance, you have, like, Fat Joe that's trying to go out and, you know, do a TV series or a movie or whatever he's doing. Right. And it's like, okay, good. It makes for a great film. That's a good story. It makes for a great film. So I get it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, no, that's not who I am. Okay. That's not who I am. And I'm not even, like, no.
All right. Let's move on. Let's see what else I got here. That was Smoking Guns. Let's see.
And the
Oh,
crazy thing is I want to say, I have something else to say. Like, when it comes to, like, you know, anyone out there, like, nobody, like, except his mom and his family, of course, out of respect, but nobody is going to know him more than me. Like, nobody knows his life more than me. Like, I was his wife.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nobody can, you know, go there. And like I said, it's understandable. I'm going to respect what people have to say. You know, I might not agree with them. We can agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, I know it's real, and I know it's important to me. And as long as I keep that pure, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and again, perspective is everything. For those that don't have the perspective, but have the common sense to comprehend, oh, maybe there's, you know, we're given new info. Maybe their minds can open up to something else, and some people's minds are not going to be open to nothing at all. It's just what it is, you know?
And like I said, it makes a great story, right?
It makes a great story.
So.
All right, we got a couple of. I know you ain't no punk, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat what they say. I'm gonna ask you what they say, and you could choose, to answer or not answer. But I know you ain't no punk, so I ain't gonna treat you with kid gloves here. So let's see, what's the next one? This is a good one. This can be answered quickly. Did she invent the BBL or just pioneer it? Okay.
Yo, can I tell you something?
Viv was a pioneer, in my opinion. Go ahead.
Listen to me.
I mean,
Back in
Val.
the day, I was the Barbie, right? Back in the day. Oh, she plastic. She this, she that. Now you got every girl out there looking like me. So I'm happy to say I pioneered it.
Pioneer. Let's see what else.
I'm embrace it all day long.
Embrace it, hey man. You know, we not many of us get to pioneer much, so you gotta hold on to what you got. This one, I'm sure you don't have to answer this one. How many guys has she been with?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you know I don't sugarcoat much, right? But yeah, I've been in and out of relationships. I think for the most part, I feel like, you know, I've been in relationships I chose, you know, to be in the wrong relationships at times. But I feel like a lot of the relationships I was in were long term. And more importantly, I got Jay looking at me like, okay, all right, girl. But more importantly, I'm with the love of my life today. I'm with my husband, and I'm going to continue, you know, spending the rest of my life with him. But I do want to say this, like, out of everything I went through in the past, I learned from each and every, you know, part of my life.
Sure.
And I'm going to take the good with the bad. And at the end of the day, it makes me who I am today. And I feel like I'm strong. I feel like I'm resilient. And I feel like, you know, I have a story to tell, and I'm going to keep telling it. And it's because of all the bullshit that I've been through, right?
The good and the bad.
So, good and the bad. What did you say, Dave? Oh, he got jokes.
Yo, that goes with what 030 North. 030 North said, tell her to put her husband on the phone.
Oh, they want to speak to Jay? That's going to be the next segment.
Yo.
That's going to be the next segment. When I'm not here, I'll have him call in so that way they can ask him questions, right?
That's hilarious.
That's what we really want to hear from, right?
Right. We want to hear him tell me where I f***ed up.
He got a lot to say.
Let's see what else we got here.
He says he don't want to take my shine. Okay.
He's him take his shine.
Yeah.
Ask if Sammy the Bull's daughter wanted the fade, if that story was real. I don't think, Chucky, I think that was Viv's story though. The story.
The Sammy the Bull story?
Yeah, the Sammy the Bull,
Yeah,
the peasant story.
Yeah, that's Viv's story to tell for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But definitely happened. All the stories in the book, on the podcast, everything we speak on is 100% real. I know it's unbelievable, but we've lived a crazy life. So
I want to know the real reason why the price jumped in 07 all the way to 32 grand in the West Coast. That's a question for Jay.
That's definitely a question for Jay. They definitely made a mark on that market, that's for sure. Supply and demand, for sure.
Right. What does she regret more? Getting involved in the life or cooperating?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Right? I'm going to say I have no regrets. And I know it's crazy. I'm going to say I have no regrets. Like, my husband looking at me like I'm crazy. But I know that everything I've been through, I feel like I'm here at this moment in present time. I'm where I'm supposed to be, right? And I feel like everything I went through, the heartaches, the drama, the trauma, everything I've been through, I feel like I'm here for a reason, right? And I feel like I have purpose now. And I feel like there's a reason why I'm doing everything that I'm doing. And, you know, people might not see that right now, but there's bigger things that are on the way. There are bigger things that are coming. And like I said, we have a lot of projects in the pipeline. And on top of doing 100 positive things. And with that being said, if I didn't go through all the bullshit, I wouldn't be able to speak on it. I wouldn't be where I'm at today, and I wouldn't be able to go where I'm going in the future. So
right.
I'm going to keep it right there where I have no regrets.
All right.
And that's coming from the heart.
I'll take it. All right, Goth Beauty got a double up here. First one is, was it hard to stay faithful while her husband was locked up?
Was it hard to stay faithful? Well, so we had a lot of phone sex.
Hey.
We had a lot. I was at every single visit every weekend.
Yeah, you had a busy schedule.
I had a very busy schedule. I had kids to raise, but at the end of the day, I mean, you know, I don't want to get too crazy with it, but I mean, me and my husband, you know, I feel like we were both very fulfilled while he was in prison.
Y'all kept a healthy relationship. Okay.
Very creative.
And I'll say this for both of you, for both couples, for Peter and Viv, and I'll say it for Jay and Val, that, you know, another perspective that I got from going through this story is that at any moment, any one of y'all could have bailed on the other one and gone your own way and just took your own chance. So for whatever anybody got to say, at the end of the day, that love that I laugh about here, or the hopeless romanticism that I clown around about here, it worked.
For sure.
It was right. Y'all are still together through even more and more and more and more hardship. So it's like, what can anybody really say?
And can you imagine the 14 years that he was away? Every single visit, every single prisoner, every single inmate in there was like, oh, this bitch ain't coming next week.
Right.
And sure enough, I ended up being like, I was like a piece of furniture. I was just there all the time. Like,
right.
They could never get rid of me.
Nice. All right. And Goth's second question was, did she ever meet Emma Coronel, Chapo's wife?
No, I did not meet her or her husband. My husband had the pleasure of meeting them, but never myself. Okay. It's a little different in Mexico, you know. The wives are not going to be sitting at the table with the men, you know, making business decisions, making moves. Like, that's not how it works over there in Mexico. It's very, you know, old school, traditional. You know, it's a man's world out there, right?
Right.
So, no.
Right. You still got more time? Am I holding you up?
I got 2 more questions, and then I got to pick up my kids.
All right, here we go.
I'm a mom. At the end of the day, I'm a mother.
Yeah, absolutely. You still got to do the mama thing.
I'll tell you, one person I did meet, though, is Mencho. I met Mencho. I don't know if everyone, you know, had a chance to read the book. I know you're reading it now. But I do talk about Mencho.
Yo, if there's one you don't want to meet, it's probably that one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I met him and his army. He's the one that actually was able to. We were kidnapped in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, tied up, and he's the one that actually came, and he was the one that released our husbands, and he actually facilitated that whole thing. So.
That was the switcheroo when they.
You haven't gotten to that part yet, but
no, but I think we got it. We might have got to it in Surviving the Chapo. That's where he pulled the switcheroo and put the other 2 guys to turn over to the feds in the car.
Yes, and now he's in charge of. You know, he's a leader. He's like, they're saying like he's, you know,
right, that guy
most wanted. He's bigger than Chapo, and you know, whatever they say about him. But yeah. Jalisco New Generation, that's the cartel that he runs, but yeah.
Why she didn't continue in the music business after getting back to the States? But I'd figure they were busy. Y'all was busy at that time, but...
Yeah, I was in the music industry. I had a record deal with Universal Records, and we were about to sign Drake, and Jay wants to kill me to this day, where I'm like, I just want to be a wife, I want to be a mom, I don't want to do this no more, I don't want to be involved in it, because I was flying back and forth, you know, from Mexico to LA and New York and Miami to record with, with some of the biggest producers. Kanye's got stores, like biggest producers and songwriters and artists in the game, right? And I had that opportunity, and at the time, I was just like, I just want to be a mom. I just want to be a wife. I don't want to, be in that life no more. I was, I just wanted to be, I come from a very simple family.
Right.
And I know I might not be a simple person, but I have two sides to me, right? I have two sides to me. I can be, living this crazy life, but at the same time, when you're growing up, your family plants these seeds in you, and at the end of the day, you want what you had, especially me coming from me having the childhood that I had, right?
Right.
I always, cherished my parents' relationship and their simplicity, and that's something that I always wanted. And I was just growing, tired of the game, whether it be the music industry or whether it be
right. You was going through it at the time.
And exactly, and that it's me always in my husband's ear, like, you got to change your life. You got to change your life. We can't keep going, because I didn't want to lose him the way that I lost Kato, and somebody killing him, or I didn't want to lose him, to him going to prison for the rest of his life. Like, I knew that's what that's the only two ways out of the game.
Right.
And so, like, I was tired of that, and I just wanted something different. I wanted just to be us and just not have to go through all the bullshit that we chose to go through, right?
Right.
But
okay.
Yeah, as far as
G-Unit chain. Yeah. What really happened to the G-Unit chain? Do you know?
Oh my goodness, everyone has a story with that G-Unit chain, which is so crazy. But yeah, of course I know. I mean, it's so crazy. I want to say something for me and 50 laugh about it. We all laugh about it. My husband definitely did get that chain back. And of course, it's funny how I read in the comments how people are like, oh, well, they weren't built for this. And they were running that city. What? Are you kidding me? Like, they were running that city at the time. And I hate to talk like this because, we're different people today.
Right.
But, like, they were the city. They had it on lock. Whatever set, like, they had it on lock. Like, they were supplying the whole city. That's what happens when you have that type of power, that type of money, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's like they were able to make a few phone calls to whatever set that chain was sitting at, and I'll let Jay tell that story, get that chain back, and definitely get it back to 50. And it's so crazy because it's like you never realize, right, how, things happen for a reason. You never know, like, that we were setting that up back then to turn around and then end up getting the deals that we got with 50 today. So that's insane. That's a story in itself, right?
Right. But you got to pick up the kids. So, Val, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Man, thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep talking shit. I'm going to keep listening. And you hitting it on the money, so keep doing that because you're saying shit that I can't. I'm
going to keep talking my shit. Good luck to you. Hopefully we get another chance to speak. And blessings to you and the family.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, peace out, Val. Peace.
All right, take care.
Later.